Good morning. Welcome to another One Mind meditation. Welcome to Saturday morning. Hope your week's gone well. Hope you reached all your goals this week, and perhaps if you haven't, there's still a bit of time left to get a few boxes checked. Either way, it's Saturday. Our teacher this week is Mooji, and a few beautiful thoughts I have to share with you from Mooji. Charlene, good morning. Happy Saturday morning to you. Sunmari, good morning. Happy Saturday. What is the relationship between your mind and your soul? What is the relationship between your mind and your soul? We will explore that a little bit today. Mooji says, feelings by themselves, feelings on their own, do not create problems. It is rather the tendency to interpret and analyze those feelings that creates our problems. We can have feelings, and having feelings does not create the problem. It is how we view those feelings. It is how we interpret and analyze those feelings that create our problems. Honey, good morning. Happy Saturday morning to you. Hello. Mooji says, when out of habit, you believe those interpretations. That is where the suffering begins. Are you able to have feelings? Allow the feelings to be felt without judging and over-analyzing the feelings, knowing that in due time they'll pass, making way for different feelings? Mooji says, no thought has any power. Thoughts do not have power, says Mooji. You have power. And when you identify with and believe in the thought, then you give power to the thought. Are you able to have thoughts? To allow the thoughts to be seen, without judging and over-analyzing the thoughts, knowing that in due time they'll pass, making way for different thoughts. Mooji says, you are the master. The mind is your servant. That is the correct relationship. Pepe, a good evening to you. Hello. Awesome seeing you live here. You are the master. The mind is your servant. That is the correct relationship, says Mooji. You are indeed the master, or your soul is the master, and your mind is servant to this soul. This is not a power struggle, though. Your mind's natural place is in service of the being that you are, unless your mind has never gotten to know your being. If your mind doesn't recognize the soul that you are, then it believes that all the responsibility rests on its shoulders, that the mind has to be the captain of this ship. And this is quite scary. Introduce your mind to your soul, and you'll be surprised at how readily your mind lets go of control. Max, good evening. It's good to see you pop in here, man. What a nice surprise. Annalie, good morning. Anne-Marie, good morning. Tanya, good morning. What a beautiful group together. Today's meditation journey is a practical exercise in witnessing thoughts and feelings and asking the question, who is it that is witnessing the mind? When we take a step back and observe what the mind is doing, then we're not being the mind, but we're being the soul who is watching the mind. Everything you practice, you will become better at. We know how true this is for physical skills like learning how to ride a bicycle, but it is equally true for dealing with our inner world. So let's get into today's exercise. If you're ready, you can close your eyes and let's float away together, starting with the first few big breaths. Let's take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. A deep inhale and let it go. Deep breath in and out. One more big breath in and let it all flow away. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose is an invitation. It invites you to turn inwards and to follow this journey. As you breathe in, feel the air flow in through your nostrils and draw the air all the way deep down into your belly. And as you fill your belly with air, also raise yourself up. As you breathe in, stretch out your spine, lift the top of your head toward the ceiling, and once you've reached your full height, then let all of it go. With every exhale, soften. With every breath out, soften your spine, slump down your shoulders, and drop your head. While you continue your full body breathing, rising with every inhale and falling with every exhale, we're going to check in with this body. So with your next exhale, as you soften, bring your attention to your forehead, to the space between your eyes. Do you sometimes find yourself walking around with a frown there? And in this moment, is your forehead completely softened? With your next exhale, as your body softens, bring your attention to the area in and around your mouth. Do you sometimes find yourself clenching your teeth? Or perhaps pressing your tongue hard against the roof of your mouth? Or your jaw muscles tightly clenched? Do you then remind yourself to soften, to put down what you're carrying? With your next exhale, as your body softens, bring your attention to your neck and shoulders. Do you often feel your shoulders pulled up high and tight? Almost level with your ears even. And in those moments, do you remind yourself to take a few big breaths and help your body soften? With your next exhale, as your body softens, bring your attention to your stomach area, to your abdominal muscles. Tension hides there very effectively. In this moment, can you make sure your abs are completely relaxed? With your next exhale, as your body softens, bring your attention to your butt cheeks. Make sure you're not clenching. Make sure that you relax. And then lastly, bring your attention to your legs and your arms, specifically your hands. Another place where tension can hide for a long time. Do you sometimes find your hands balled into tight fists? And for this moment, are they lying halfway open in your lap? We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together, continuing to help our bodies stretch, adjust, and settle down into as much comfort as possible for the rest of our journey. Take a deep breath in. As you release, drop your head all the way forward and roll out your neck muscles forward and to the left, and forward and to the right. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders forward in big, slow circles. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders backwards in big circles, nice and slow. Take a deep breath in. As you release, focus on your spine. You can lean your upper body over to the left. And lean your upper body over to the right. One more big breath in. And as you release, you can stretch or move or adjust any part of your body that still needs a bit of help settling down. Having softened our bodies into a state of presence, or at least as much as we are able to do that, we can now turn our attention inwards and dive deep inside for the next part of our journey. If you don't have the time to sit for the whole meditation with us, then this is always a good place to stop. But if you are here for the whole journey, with every next inhale, we'll hold our breath for a few short moments, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. Let's take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, make it a really long, really slow exhale. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, feel into your body. Feel how softness slips in and settles in every part of your body. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, follow the downwards flow through your body. Feel your shoulders slowly falling. Feel your body slowly softening, and feel how you are slowly slipping deeper into you. One more big breath in and hold. As you release, feel yourself melting. Feel your whole body dissolving. Feel how you are slipping into a deeper level of surrender with every slow exhale. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose is an invitation. It invites you to turn inwards and follow this journey. As you breathe in, feel the air flow in through your nostrils. Feel the air touch the back of your throat. Stay with your breath as it flows in through your lungs. And as you fill up the balloon inside your belly, feel yourself slip all the way in. Hold your breath. But hold it only for as long as it feels easy, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, our journey today will be the experience that this body provides. So say hello to this body. As you take a deep breath, as you dive deep inside, perhaps even wrap your arms around this body and say to it, "Hello, body. I really do love having you. Take your next big breath. Our journey of the senses starts at the top with our eyes and then works its way through our body. So first stop, yes, it's your eyes. For this exercise, we're going to keep our eyes closed. We won't open them. And we'll use our mind to see what our eyes would have seen. So as you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, what would be the most obvious object in your room? The most obvious thing that you would see if you were to open your eyes? Take a moment to find it. And then as you take a deep breath, as you dive deep inside, study this obvious object with your mind. See it from all of its angles. See all of its color. And find all of its texture. Take your next big breath. We'll change gears while we still staying with what you can see, but with your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, the question is, what would be the least obvious object in the room if you were to open your eyes? Find that less obvious object, and as you take a deep breath, as you dive deep into you, study the less obvious object. See it from all its angles, see all of its color, and find all of its texture. Take your next big breath. You see an object, your mind thinks thoughts about the object. Sometimes your mind wanders away and you have to bring it back and say, no, we're focusing on this object right now. Who is witnessing the mind? Who is it that is watching the mind? We'll take a step down to your ears and what you can hear. With your next big breath as you dive deep into you, bring your attention to the most obvious sound that you can hear, the loudest sound. And as you take a deep breath and dive deep inside, lean into that obvious sound. See if you can find all the different vibrations you can hear in the obvious sound. Take your next big breath. And then we'll switch gears, but still staying with sound. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, bring your attention to the faintest sound that you can hear. What is the softest sound on your radar right now? Lean into it and see how much of that faint sound you can actually hear. Take your next big breath. Your mind hears a sound. Your mind thinks thoughts about the sound. Your mind even wanders away from the sound, and then you catch your mind and say, "Hey mind, come back. We're paying attention to sound now." Who is it that is watching the mind? We take another step down to your nose and what you can smell. And for these next 2 stops, change your breathing to whatever it needs to be to help you smell and taste. Right now it is smell. As you take a deep breath and dive deep into you, can you find any obvious smell to focus on right now? Take your next big breath. We'll change gears while we still stay with smell. As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, is there any other smell you can find? Anything besides the first obvious smell for you to focus on? Take your next big breath. mind pays attention to a smell and thinks thoughts about the smell, and sometimes your mind even wanders away from the smell, and you have to catch your mind and return it and say, hey mind, we're paying attention to smell right now. Who is it that is watching the mind? We'll take another step down to your mouth and what you can taste. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, bring your attention to whatever obvious taste you can find. Take your next big breath. And then we change gears, still sticking with taste, but is there any other taste you can find? Anything besides the first obvious taste? Take your next big breath. Your mind finds a taste. Your mind thinks thoughts about this taste. Your mind sometimes even wanders away to other thoughts, and you catch it. You say, hey mind, come back here. We are paying attention to taste right now. Who is that? Who is it that is watching the mind? We have one more stop, the surface of your skin. So with your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, scan the surface of your skin. Find where is the most obvious sensation on the surface of your skin. And pay full attention to it. See if you can describe to yourself all the different sensations and pressures that you can feel in this obvious spot. Take your next big breath. And then one more time, we'll switch gears and find on the surface of your skin a spot with the slightest sensation. Perhaps somewhere you can just feel fabric gently resting against skin, or even the air touch your forehead or your cheek. Take your next big breath. We'll take one more big breath together to slip out of the breath holding space and into the next. Take a deep breath in and hold. And as you release, feel yourself slip all the way through. There is no more attention on your breathing. You can sit all the way back or even lie all the way back down and feel yourself just floating. Mooji's words this morning are about the mind and the thoughts and the feelings associated with the mind. Mooji says, feelings by themselves do not create problems. It is rather the tendency of our mind to interpret and analyze these feelings that create our problems. When out of habit you believe those interpretations, that is where the suffering begins. Mooji says, no thought by itself has any power. You have power. And when you identify with and believe in the thought, that is when you give power to the thought. Mooji says, the mind is not the master. You are the master. The mind is your servant. That is the correct relationship. You are the master. The mind is your servant. So we're coming back to the question. While your mind thinks a thought, and you watch the thought being thunk, and you can even recognize when your mind wanders away from the thought and catch your mind and say, hey mind, come back to this thought. We're focusing right now. Who is it that is watching the mind? Who are you being as you catch thoughts and return them back to the point of focus? You are the master, and your mind is the servant. This is not a power struggle, though. Your mind's natural place is in service of the being that you are, unless your mind has never gotten to know your being. If your mind doesn't recognize the soul that you are, then the mind believes that all responsibility rests on its shoulders, and that the mind has to be the captain of the ship. And that is quite scary. Introduce your mind to your soul, and you will be surprised at how readily your mind lets go of the control. But your mind needs to get to know the soul that you are. And as you step into that place of observer, being the witness of your mind more and more, not believing in the thoughts the mind thinks, not putting too much stock in all the feelings that go, all the feelings that change from one moment to the next, then you are being your soul. And the more you step into the witness, the observer, being your soul, the more your mind will recognize that it is not the captain of the ship. It is the servant to your being. We have the last 5 breaths of gratitude to do together. With every exhale, I'll say my thank you, and I invite you to say yours. Let's take a deep breath in Thank you for this body and all its amazing sensory experiences. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for this mind and its amazing ability to think thoughts, lots of them. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for being firmly grounded in my being, in my soul, the witness of this busy mind. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for this practice, all of these practices in which my mind starts to recognize the soul. My mind starts to recognize who is the captain of the ship. And the mind becomes happy to be the servant, knowing its place. One more big breath in. Thank you, beautiful people. Thank you for being on this journey with us. You certainly do have a beautiful mind. But it is helpful when the mind learns it is not the captain of the ship. It doesn't have to make everything work out. Thank you, Charlene. Thank you, Nella. Good morning. It's good to see you, Nella. Good morning, Maggie, and thank you very much. Thank you, Sunmarie. Thank you, honey. Have a great Saturday. Anne-Marie, good morning and have a great Saturday. Annalie, have a great Saturday. Thank you. See you again soon. Tomorrow, the meditation will be quiet. So if you feel like a quiet space, come and drop in tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.